Hello, happy day. We are recording on a Friday right now. So, depending on when you're listening to this, I hope you're in just a good mood as we are as we're nearing the weekend. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing Real Housewives of Orange County Reunion Part 2.
What were your thoughts? I mean, overall of this part, what key takeaways?
My girl Jen has risen up.
Yeah, I
She's
mean,
doing the work. I was very impressed with her going head to head with Tamra, holding her ground, fancy pants.
I
She's
think she did
doing
a
it.
better job with Fancy Pants than with Tamra. And she did good with Tamra, but I was really impressed with how she held her own with Heather. I also want to say before we get started, a lot of you DM'd us. We always say we are not the experts on all the things. That would be impossible. In the previous episode or last week's OC recap, we talked about how we thought it was odd that Katie said she was served and it was given to her ex-husband. In the state of Texas, you can serve someone by location, not by physically being present. It varies by state by state. So she very well could have been served to her husband. I think also just our bigger point was, one, it absolutely went too far. We did not, neither one of us, even me who loves Emily, did not support or agree with what they did and that they took it too far. But I think it was also just the point, with Katie, there's always a story. There's always more to it. I kind of felt like we had some of this too with her daughter, even as she kind of brought her in. But
So thank you. So yes, shout out to all of you. We appreciate it, even whether it's medically, obviously with the law. So thank you so much for taking the
yeah,
time to DM us and
and
educate us,
saying
frankly.
it, in a nice way. There were several people that said, just so you know, it varies state by state. When I lived in the state, I remember this happening, not remember happening to Katie, but they remember people being served, and you can be served by location, not by in person. So, a fun law fact. And thank you guys for keeping us, informed. Our Google law degrees are just thriving.
What was your perspective? Speaking of which, Google law degrees, the cease and desist, the conversation started out circling back with Ryan. Jen kept going head to head. What was your take on that conversation?
Well, it's interesting. You can get an apology out of Tamra. All you have to do is send her a cease and desist. She was in the wrong. I think she knew it. The thing she said on the show, I actually kind of believe her when she said that she came in kind of heated with what was going on, and that Eddie had just been talked about, and that Ryan was saying Eddie isn't really a man, that he's gay. And she came in kind of mad, and that she didn't even realize the things that she had said, the way she had said it, said Ryan was stealing money.
She was seeing red. She said she was hammered.
Well, that too. So, I think knowing Tamra and knowing she is a person who has done this kind of stuff before, and the fact that she was so quick to apologize. Yes, I think she was quick to apologize because she didn't want to, have a lawsuit. She's been down that road with Jim Bellino. She knows how expensive it is, but I think she also realized the thing she was saying was actually factually wrong. She didn't mean the thing she was saying either. So, very interesting that you could actually get Tamra to apologize, and it seemed like she meant it. I do, at the end of the day, think that actually Tamra, in her own weird way, wants to be friends with Jen. I think she just doesn't like the Ryan equation of this. This is giving me deja vu of Vicky with Brooks.
Mm.
And
she said she was right about Brooks. She made it clear, even though she apologized. She's I was right about Brooks, right about Ryan, and even though, and I say this as someone who is I don't know when we're going to call ourselves the poor Jens. I don't know.
Or the
money can't buy us anything.
Apologists. Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. But regardless, I think she is great. I think she's vulnerable. I love the authenticity she brings. I still stand by, regardless that Ryan has immunity, that he is a red flag. I mean, he may have not gotten caught or, legal trouble. Well, a little bit, but been implicated in this situation, but that's still a red flag to me. So I do, and I've said this before, I could see Tamra being vindicated by whatever the next couple seasons, the future, giving a Vicky, call me in 5 years when you're divorced moment. I could see that, sadly.
I mean, I don't think Ryan is completely innocent. I think he just had had enough things done in a way he couldn't get brought down this time. But clearly he knew enough that they offered him immunity. You know, we said this before, like you don't offer immunity to somebody who's completely innocent and you just want them to like tell you a little more. You give someone immunity because what they say could be self-incriminating. They don't want to say it because they don't want to put themselves in a situation where they're going to be facing legal ramifications. I mean, I would have to go back and look, but I mean, I know that like the people who brought Jen Shaw down were all given plea deals. Some were probably given immunity. Like, look, we know you probably, you know, scammed a few old people, but you were doing it under her directive. If you can show us proof of what she did, we're not sending you to jail for, you know, like 6 months for, you know, whatever. We want to bring her down for several years. And so, I mean, I do think like the fact that Ryan was given immunity, he had something of leverage that he could use to then better himself in that situation. Likely somebody like that is going to do something. If they've scammed like a big scam like this, if you got to this level, you've done some other like shady shit to get to this point where you're with these people. So I wouldn't be surprised if something else happens with Ryan. I hope not for Jim's case, but yeah, I think I would not be shocked. I don't know if I would say Tamra's going to be vindicated, or because I think some of the things she did for Jen were just so unnecessary, but I think she might be, she'll definitely end up being correct with him.
Well, I say vindicated in the sense of going so hard on him. Her approach was wrong, but she may not eventually be far off. But again, time will tell.
Did you catch Tamra? So she kept forgetting it was a Sunday, which completely understandable. They never do these on Sunday. So I could see her, like usually it's a Friday or Thursday. They'll do it. Like, so she kept forgetting that they were filming this on a Sunday. And I'm sure she told Andy that she was going to therapy the next day. But that was the therapy session where she was allegedly diagnosed. I'm using air quotes because a therapist cannot diagnose somebody with a medical condition, and it is not diagnosed within one therapy session. But this was the therapy session where she claims she was diagnosed with autism.
Wild. No, I did. I saw your notes on it. Says you watched before me. So as I was watching and adding on to our notes, our shared notes, that did kind of click through my head. And I'm like, good eye, Abby. Good eye. I feel like this is true Virgo, just connecting the dots, immediately remembering certain things about that.
I will say there were certain things that were said that I'm sure she brought up to the therapist. And I'm guessing the therapist, like she said things like, I don't know why I process things socially and say them the way I do, referring back to the Watch What Happens Live. And maybe the therapist, you know, and this is all like hypothetical, said something like, you know, you might have some sort of social processing issue. We sometimes see that with adults on the spectrum. This might be something worth looking into. And Tamara's like, oh, perfect. I'm going to tell everyone.
Yes.
You know, I think it's like, because you're hearing, because you're hearing some things being said in this reunion that I'm like, knowing what I know about, which is a small amount of adult autism, like I was like, oh, she might be kind of like like not me, but manipulating some of this towards that direction.
She's telling herself the story that she wants to be, I guess, true in a way. And I think from a fan perception is making it okay for all of her shitty choices and behaviors. I did, you know, I will say, and I will maybe I'm giving Tamra too much credit here, but in all the arguments she had with the women, she was like, you're right. I'm sorry. Like she was kind of taking it in and listening. She wasn't, you know, going so defensive in my opinion. So I don't know what you're smirking.
You think Tamra just all of a sudden was like, oh no, I was wrong in this. This is a woman who's made a career of reality TV. She is living in the comment section. She saw the way people were reacting to her. She knew that the reception from the fans was she went too hard on Jen and she was too hard on Shannon. I mean, the fact that Emily was even telling her like, you are bullying Shannon, you need to chill. I think she realized like for her longevity and success that she needed to show some softness. I mean, this is like a, lifetime housewife, in my opinion. Like she knows the gig and she knows when to really push and be the villain. And I think she pushed too hard. And she also knows like, okay, when I say I'm sorry, if I show some accountability, I'm going to get some points for that. And honestly, she did a great job. It had a fantastic reunion.
You bring up such a good point, and I'm always a bit naive and want to hope like that someone's doing it out of the goodness of their heart versus just their image, and maybe it's a smidge of goodness of her heart, more image for her. But regardless, I will take it. It was a good playbook move on her part. With Gina, so Gina's situation, I kind of hate that we all assumed all of this with why she didn't move in. And she so matter of factly just explained it like this person is crazy. I want to keep my side of the story clean, keep my kids away from it, and not give them leverage of what's happening in a house when it's not true. She like removed herself. And I so badly wish while she was talking about it from a viewer perspective, it felt like they danced around it. And I wish she would have just addressed it just how she did in the reunion.
Yeah, I think, we all, again, like we were all wondering, but it also left a lot of room for speculation then of cracks in the relationship because it did seem Travis didn't want this. He was very like adamant, like, I still don't think this was the right choice. So it did make it seem like, is this Gina's way of trying to pull away, physically and maybe emotionally? The way she explained it on the reunion, it made a lot of sense. She was like, this is really sucks. And this is something where like, I don't get to be with the person I love because someone else is trying to make both of our lives a living hell. And I get it as a parent. She's like, I cannot let my kids be around this. This woman is making things up. She's trying to bring Travis down. And, she's going to forever be in their lives because it's the mother of Travis's children. But from Gina's point of view, like she isn't the mother, or stepmother of my children. And she can, take that step to remove them. And I have to wonder too, like she has put such a strong effort into having a relationship with her ex-husband's now fiance, but with his girlfriend, and like really wanted it to be like something where like the kids felt comfortable with all of them together. And really it was co-parenting, but it was also like the stepmom is like, you're not being, I'm not being replaced for the kids. You don't need to feel bad if you like her. Like she has done such a good job. And I'm sure she thought like that was so much hard work. And I've gotten to this place with my ex and his, partner that like, I can't control what my boyfriend's doing, but I can control if my kids see it. So I mean, I feel for her. That's gotta be hard.
Oh, it's got to be very difficult. But I'm glad we eventually got that. I just wish we would have saw more of it, and it could have been how it's edited because we got a lot of footage that wasn't quite shown, or at least they made you feel like it wasn't shown because it was grayed out this episode.
I wonder too if maybe something like his divorce was like going to be reopened. I don't know. It's not final, but maybe there was something that was kind of put to rest where they felt like they could talk about it more. Also, I'm sure you don't want to fuel her fire. You call her crazy on TV, and then who knows what she comes back with.
Oh, absolutely. No, that is all fair. So we go back to talking about Jen's finances. The $2,000 dress comes up, and she very much is like, I get $6,000. Of course, I'm not going to take that. I'm going to feed my family. I'm not going to spend $2,000. I had a dress from Revolve. It didn't arrive on time. Ryan suggested I go to Neiman's, I think was the store that, go to Neiman's. And the sales associate said, I have a perfect dress. And he paid for the Dolce & Gabbana dress. Heather claimed that she was, she apologizes. She's like, I was just being gossipy. No big deal. And then Katie chimes in saying she's mean girl.
Yeah, I think Katie was trying to stir the pot here. And honestly, if I was Katie, I'd be like, you've had enough heat on you and you're going to get more coming your way. Like, let someone else kind of take this. Like Tamra didn't chime in much in those moments either until she was brought in. Like if it was someone else's drama, I actually was like, oh, Tamra's doing a pretty good job of hanging back. Cause she's like, I've done enough to make people not necessarily like me this season. Yeah. I mean, I didn't think Katie needed to call it out as mean girl. I kind of agreed with what Heather said. Was it mean? It wasn't mean girl. I was being gossipy. I feel like,
she's like, I was talking shit. We all do.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I don't think saying like,
oh, there's much more than that.
Yeah, like saying the person who is getting $6,000 in child support, I found out is wearing a $2,000 dress. Like it makes me kind of question their financial choices. Is that gossipy? 100%. Is it shady? Yes. I wouldn't say mean girl or like, because I think mean girl can get into the line of bullying. And I don't feel like this wasn't that. And that line can be different for everyone, but I didn't, based off of other things we've seen this season from these women, that did not feel mean girl.
No. The only way I could see it being mean girl was in the way the women, particularly Emily, went after Jen about her finances and the way she spoke to her about it. So had it been Emily who brought this up, I think you'd have more of a case of an argument for mean girl. But coming from Heather, I am with you on that.
Yeah. I think Katie just wanted a reason to try to like throw
Chime
something
in.
back. Well, and I think she was like, "Ooh, could this be a chance to make Heather look bad?" But ultimately, then it goes back to Katie. Look, I know a nanny has come forward and said that Emily did talk bad about the women in front of the kids. Sure, it could be true. I mean, look, I love Emily. I just feel like the way Shane always kind of shuts that down when the kids are, and maybe he's doing it for the cameras. I don't know. But we have a lot of footage of Katie's kids seemingly knowing a lot about these women. So Katie is definitely openly talking shit about Heather at the very least in front of her kids. And then her daughter's TikToks. So, we had kind of like gone down this rabbit hole. I think it was like last week we stumbled upon them. I feel like had Katie not brought her daughter into it by saying the twins told my daughter this, I don't know if those TikToks actually would have even come up, because I think people would have gone to the place of like, we don't talk about the kids, but she does have a TikTok where she calls all of these women fake ass bitches who suck dick. Like,
it's not good. Listen, like, I think if I were Katie, I would say, yes, I know she has a 20-year-old daughter, but you're still her mother. You're treating her, she gives like, I'm the cool mom, we're friends vibes. Like, I'm not quite your mom, like whatever. But I would have called her immediately if I saw that and someone sent that to me and be like, honey, what are you doing? I think I don't care if your kid's 20. I would be like, take that down. Like,
yeah,
I would have addressed it. I wouldn't have left it up. And I'm like thinking about myself, like when I talk about you in front of my kids, like it's all very positive. Like if I have a beef with a friend or something, I never talk about, I don't know, they're so young. Like why?
I know.
So I do feel like if she wants to parent that way and make her kids her besties and overshare and bring them along for the ride, fine. But you also need to take some accountability because you are the parent. These are your kids, and say, I apologize, and just apologize. Don't say she's 20. I can't control. Like, you had a role in that. You brought her on national television. You kind of like, you had a role in that. So I'm like, be the parent, please, and just take some accountability.
This is the thing with Katie, that like at times she is right. It's the way she defends herself and like the stories and the kind of talking in circles. She tried to make it sound like she doesn't talk badly about the women in front of her son when there's a clip, So I honestly think if she would have come from the approach of like, look, maybe I have a different parenting style, but I treat my children as if they are adults and I will have adult-like conversations with them. They want to know what's going on in my life. I want to know what's going on in theirs. If I want them to open up about their friends with me, then I have to open up about my friends. So I share, if someone's being mean to me, I share if I don't like the way someone's talked to me. Like, I think honestly, if she would have gone from that perspective, some of the women might have been like, okay, like that's your prerogative.
100%. But she lacks accountability in that sense.
Yeah.
She's not, it's also like, I would have shot back if I were Heather. I'd be like, that's mean girl behavior.
Yeah. You want to talk mean? Yeah.
You want to talk mean girl behavior? Like, saying that is mean girl behavior, which it certainly is.
You know what's crazy though? So you think like coming like at the beginning of the season, the way I saw Katie kind of like be very assertive, I would have thought come reunion time that she would have actually gone more toe to toe with Heather the way Jen did. I think Jen handled Heather 100 times better than Katie, which is it's interesting the evolution of these women and like the confidence that they start to have.
Yes, absolutely. Like Jen definitely has found her voice, and I could see a little bit of Tamra even as they were like sparring, if you will. That I felt like she was like kind of smirked
Proud.
in the sense of proud. Yes, exactly. Just a little like, okay.
Like, oh, baby's first argument victory. Like
yes.
it was a little bit of sense of like, oh, look at Tamra and Emily though. They hated each other until Tamra recognized like, oh, Emily actually is just like me. And so who knows? I think there's hope for Jen and Tamra. I didn't love Jesus Jugs being on there, but I loved that when Andy was asking her, it was like, congrats on the engagement. Do you have a date? When is it? That is exactly how she was with me when I interviewed her on Us Weekly Carpet. And this is after like, she's like, be nice, keep it light. So I'm like, keep it light. We just want to talk about your wedding. And I was like, do you have a date? Yes. Are you sharing it? No. Do you have a theme? Yes. Like she did the same thing with Andy. I'm like, Alexis, if you want people to be nice to you, like when they're talking about positive, nice things, focus on that.
Facts. And her argument, the way she came in, clearly her little rehearsals that she's been doing, her notes that she's been writing down, she didn't, I don't even think she could have had enough time to have been able to like even nail it. Shannon annihilated her. Tip my hat off to Miss Bedore because she really went in guns a blazing. She focused on the fact that she takes things John says, that she truly is a puppet. She immediately gives an example of that. The women chime in and said, like, that's exactly what John says. And then see the door, Bedore, whatever that was. She's like, you rehearsed it. Production came back. And so she did a really good job of like building her case of her truly being a puppet. We all saw it as viewers, but for Shannon to go in on her like that was awesome.
I honestly, even though I don't even like Shannon, I was like, you go, Shannon. There were so many moments like, oh, you're a TV star. Like that killed me. I also loved the conversation with Andy where they brought up like, you got sued because you said people were like getting injured at Jim Bellino's trampoline parks. And her and Andy were kind of having a side convo. I had to like rewind it to like listen in on that part of it. But Alexis like, you said this. And she turned to Andy and goes, actually, what I said is, no, don't say it if you got sued. And she goes, I won. And he's like, oh, good for you. Like he was so happy for Shannon that like she had won that lawsuit against Jim Bellino. Also, Alexis did nothing to prove her point of like, that text to me actually was a smoking gun that showed that Alexis was more involved in this lawsuit than she's letting on. She might not have been named on it, but she said, we will take legal action. Like she was part of it more, whether she wants to admit it or not.
I think with Alexis she is picking the wrong battles to fight. Like if you are going to go after Shannon, you need to call in the fact. I would say, listen, we can't change the past. I've tried to make things right. I'm not John Jansen. If she didn't go in so hard writing as John Jansen's
Johnny
puppet
J.
and fighting his fights, I think she could have had, I wouldn't say her and Shannon would be friends by any means, but I think they could be in the same space a bit more. Yeah. But I don't think Alexis will do anything for her man. She's like she really rides hard for literally and figuratively for Johnny J. I mean,
do you think they get married?
I do. I don't know if they'll stay married, but I do think they will get married.
I think they will get married as well on principle. I don't think it will last. I also think the fact that she said they're going to be living in separate houses for a while because his house is small and she still has the kids. I'm like, I don't know. I know it can work, but it's kind of weird to be like newlyweds from the start saying you're going to live in separate houses. Like, why doesn't he rent his house out?
I feel like he to me is like a grown up Peter Pan where he like so selfish, doesn't want to give up his boat, his house. Yeah. Like, but you're right. He could easily just rent it out or still have it.
2 years. Yeah.
Or spend like part-time. Like there's ways around it, but like, yeah. And the fact that he didn't approach Alexa's son about getting engaged. And it's just, there's a lot of signs of selfishness here. And yeah, I think they'll get married. I think they'll be like an Us weekly exclusive. I don't think it'll go to People. I think it'll go to Us or Page Six. There'll be an exclusive.
Is In Touch still around? Is that magazine? I mean, I feel like this is like, even for Us Weekly, I don't think they're that they'll maybe a small little insert.
Well, they were at the reality star. So
I mean, Abby Lee Miller was at that party.
I don't know. I'm just saying it's possible.
I don't think it was like creme de la creme necessarily.
Regardless, I think they will try to sell the photos and have some sort of an exclusive. So
yes, I agree. I also, I think Alexis shared that story because she thought it was cute, like where her son was like, I wish you would have asked me. But I'm thinking, like, honestly, it made all of us be like, oh, like Johnny J up to his old ways.
Yeah.
I think Alexis actually is going to come back. I don't think she should. I think she really fell flat. We as viewers like, oh my God, bringing her in. She's dating John Jansen. I don't really I don't even care to see her and John Jansen get married. I truly do not care. And I don't think she brought any level of like extra fun entertainment or like good conflict.
She had a lot of smoke with no fire. I feel like she came in with a lot of like, I got receipts. I got this video footage. I got this. We know all this stuff. So she came in with a lot of talk and like couldn't back the talk or wasn't willing to do it on camera. Then with the lawsuit, like her strategy, whatever it was, which clearly was like flying by the seat, like I feel like she was just like flying by the seat of her pants. That's not the right saying, but whatever, you get what I'm saying. But she flopped.
Yeah.
She
Speaking of
flopped.
bad sayings, you've probably seen our DMs from this. You posted a video of
Kenya Moore.
Kenya on the Tamra Hall show. Did you catch what she said? Did you know that was the wrong version or no? Like the wrong way to say it? She said,
Hindsight's 50-50, not 20-20.
yeah. Did you know that was wrong or not at first? I feel like as people were DMing us, I'm like, I don't think Vanessa knew this was wrong.
Well, I didn't write the caption, but yeah.
No, but I mean, you posted it. I feel like you had posted it already. I would have been like 50 hindsight 50-50, like
yeah.
something.
No, you're not wrong, Abby.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
I just had to ask.
You
on
just
record.
need to on the record here that
No,
I would have had a Kenya Moore moment. Yeah,
No, it made me laugh because I think it made it even that much better because you love Kenya. I do too. But like, I was like, I don't know if Vanessa caught that and you might not have listened to the clip all the way.
I didn't listen to it all the way. I just saw like accountability and I was like,
yeah.
Sure.
And I guess we could talk about it. We've got a few minutes. What did you think of her on the Tamra Hall show?
Clearly she's on some sort of redemption tour trying to right her wrongs. There's been like some rumors of her coming back to film. I don't know if this was like part of the deal to get her to. It wouldn't shock me with Atlanta, and I don't know that they're in post-production quite yet, but it wouldn't shock me if she'd gone and then it's like the last episode, she's back. And I feel like these are things she had to do in order to get back in the good graces of the network.
I do actually think Andy loves her. Like if you've watched her on Watch What Happens Live, he gets a kick out of her. I do also think Andy has a soft spot for women who have hard challenges as like becoming single moms or like as a parent. I think like he and Candy were very close as she, went through surrogacy, as did he. Kenya had a very, very ugly, rough divorce. I'm sure she leaned on Andy as, an executive producer and kind of her boss in a way. But she made a point of saying like, he's been really supportive. I'm guessing Andy's like, look, I want you back. You're going to have to say you're sorry. You're going to have to do some accountability. And I bet he was like, we will bring you back in a very dramatic, exciting way if you kind of, not follow the playbook, but you need to do some things. Yeah.
You need to do some things to right your wrongs and do a public apology, probably get the newbies graces of that as well. But I feel like the teaser of Atlanta, when we do get it, I could see it, that being a dramatic thing of twist of she's back. Like,
oh, it'd be good if it was like a dramatic exit of her like being kind of like not let go, but put on pause. If that was the season trailer and then mid-season trailer is her dramatic like re-entry, like full circle.
I see like breaking the fourth wall, everyone getting headlines of the party. You see like production being like, no, you can't come back. You see a little bit of that. And then yes, mid-season trailer, you see surprise, her own Jill Zarin moment. And voila.
She will be at that reunion. I like mark my words. She will be at that reunion.
No, I'm with you. I feel like she wouldn't have done that Tamra Hall video, especially when the season hasn't even aired.
It wasn't for her book. Like, exactly. I mean, there was more.
There's more at stake. Yeah.
Also, I just can't get over how old and like adorable Brooklyn is. Just because I remember her being pregnant and having her. Like, it is so wild when these like housewives kids, like especially when they're bitty babies, like really grow up. And like we hadn't seen Brooklyn in a minute, and then it was like,
I know it's crazy because she's been so protective of her, and not sharing her on camera as much. So yeah, no, it's wild.
She's adorable.
Time is a thief, as you know. My oldest is about to turn 7, and it's crazy.
Well, I got a like, don't wave to me.
I saw that
at church in God's house. Honor thy mother and father out the window. Yeah. So yeah, at age 7, they can get a little bit embarrassed, but also age 7 is so fun because their friends start to really like the parent. Like, like I remember like certain parents that I would tell, like gossip with.
Yeah.
And some of my son's kids like are dying sometimes to come like over to our house because they know I love the tea. And so they'll tell me it. And second grade, good gossip.
Just wait. Okay.
I mean,
still
makeups,
dealing with
breakups, it's like every day there's a new couple and a new breakup. And it is
okay.
hilarious because none of them are actually like,
No, not serious relationships. I mean, I'm already dealing with weddings and marriages in first grade of,
yeah,
I kissed so-and-so, I married them.
kissing, man. Public school is just moving even faster these days.
Yes, I'm just telling you.
We have not had any kissing at the Catholic school
Oh,
in first grade,
we
or
have.
second grade. Yeah, but
First grade, we have that playground. There's,
go
me
get an
and
education.
she is some sort of education, but yeah.
I learned more riding the bus in middle school to my public school that I probably did throughout most of my education. You learn a lot of shit on that bus.
You see a lot of shit.
And
Your
I learned
blinders,
bad
your
words.
colored glasses are like, what?
Yeah, I learned what a blowjob was.
Exactly. I was gonna say, what's a BJ? What's a boner? Like,
and I
things of that
remember
nature.
like when that was explained to me, I was like, why in the world would a person ever? And you know what? Flash forward 25 years later, and I'm still wondering why in the world. No, I mean, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is funny. I do get kind of sad for my kids that they're not going to ride a bus because I feel like there's a lot of life lessons taught on the bus. And like there's like a social hierarchy to it. You got to respect the elders. You got to know your place. Like it is a very it's an I think important rite of passage for a lot of kids.
I think for me, honestly, and this sounds, I in a way wouldn't want my kid riding the bus now just because you don't know which kids have cell phones and
Yeah,
like
what they're going to show. That's
yeah,
true.
what they're gonna show and like
Just innocent
bullying.
explaining of BJ's isn't happening anymore. They're probably like showing it to you.
Exactly.
I didn't think about that.
I'm like, I don't know. So like this is the beauty of motherhood, but we don't want to bore you with our anxiety.
Hey, use a Gab phone, everybody. They're not even sponsoring this episode. But
use a
Gab phone.
Use a Gab phone if you're going to get your kid a phone. But we will be in Miami next week. It's quickly approaching. I may post in the chat that we have, the She Startin' chat. I may ask like what questions you guys may have for any of the Bravo Lebs attending, just to kind of see what you want us to get down to. But obviously you as our listeners, DM us. You guys are definitely our priority. So thank you for supporting us as always. But I have that Delulu goal. So do your part. We are nowhere near 1,200. And I said 1,500 in like 6 weeks, which is not going to happen. But let's, move the needle. Let's at least try to get to 1,200. So do your part, hit 5 stars, leave a written review. And if you've done that already, shout out April Bravo, shout out Maggie Rose Lee, shout out GPK110, shout out SoCo STL, Ash 1229,
South County. Yeah.
Emma H1016, Shay. So shout out to all of you. We see you. We'll continue to give you more shout outs if you do your part and leave us a review. And with that, make it a great day or don't. The choice is yours.